interesting topic on IP, and today we'll be discussing about how to choose your trademark. So, welcome Shalini. How are you doing?
Hi, Priggya. Hello, viewers. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking, and I hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. I, no matter how busy the day gets, no matter how busy the week gets, no matter how the Tuesday was and how the Wednesday is going to be, I look forward to this little oasis that we have.
Yes. Me
Okay,
too. I think it is one of my favorite day of the week with where I get to interact with you and with our viewers and touch base about what is happening in the field of IP and how probably we can help someone in taking a right decision.
absolutely, absolutely. So before we get on to our usual opening remarks and tackling the topic, I would like to make an announcement. The people who are listening, those who are trademark agents, trademark attorneys, the notice of February 6th and 7th, which uh, resulted in abandonment of several thousand trademarks, has been rescinded, and those marks have been reinstated to their former status. And I think it should be ready in the next week or so. So
Wow.
that's the good news I have. Please go and check. The order is passed by Delhi High Court, and I don't know if the IP India website is reflecting the new judgment, the new order. But please keep a lookout and go and save your trademark.
I think Shalini, this is such an important news because from the day this notice came and this email came, there was huge hue and cry among the clients. Everybody was calling everybody to ask what has this happened, how do we do, what do we do, and how could our marks get abandoned without any notice, without any information, and it was a nightmare for everybody.
I know. And when you're not allowed to, you're not given a platform to defend yourself, then we are losing out on our constitutional prerogative.
Correct, absolutely.
So, okay, let's get back to our topic now.
Yes. So, Shalini,
Uh,
opening remarks on
okay.
how to choose your trademark.
Yes. So, opening remarks in choosing a trademark, I have a before and after for choosing a trademark. I had a before time when I was a student, and I used to carry around heavy law books and study about theoretically what are the uh, what are the objections to be raised against trademark, and what is a good trademark, what's not a good trademark. And then I have my after life, which is when I'm practicing. And studying and answering exams is one thing, but when you're actually out there every day defending the trademark and trying to explain that law to someone who doesn't understand law is to your clients, I mean, and it's quite a tricky business trying to
Yes.
get them to choose the right trademark, trying to get them to understand what are the implications of their choice. So there is a before and after, and I hope that when we are done with our talk today, we have more people on the same page.
Yes. Even I believe so.
So, Prigya, let's start with absolute grounds. Let's simplify that absolute and relative
Correct.
grounds for refusal. Let's talk about what is a good trademark and what is a bad trademark.
Yeah, I think we should refrain from the language of absolute grounds and relative grounds because it's
Absolutely.
again a legal jargon, and come back to what exactly is a good trademark and what exactly is not a good trademark. So, in simple language, like I explain to my clients is, for example, you choose a word and it's a meaningless word, or even if it has some meaning, you cannot foresee that the meaning is related to your product, then it's a good trademark. To give you example, things all around us, Parker does not indicate that it's a pen. So it's a good trademark.
So true.
Samsung does not indicate that it's a phone or a air conditioner or a television. So it's a good trademark. Oppo does not indicate that it is a mobile phone. So it is a good trademark. OnePlus does not indicate that it is a mobile phone. So it is a good trademark. So there are some exceptions, for example iPhone for a phone. So how good that can be, but yeah, we can come to that later. But till the time you are choosing an arbitrary word which the meaning of which does not indicate to a product, till that time your trademark is a good trademark.
Correct. Like Apple for electronics.
Correct. Correct.
It does not bring to mind electronics. Apple brings to mind Apple, and
Apple.
therefore it's a good mark. I cannot use Apple to sell apples or to sell fruit, but I can
Yes.
use it to sell electronics. Dove, for example. So either you go with totally made up name, right?
Yes.
Um, like Oppo, or you go with arbitrary names which do not indicate what they are. So you
Correct.
can't call water. So people ask me, then they come back and ask me, Aquafina, how is that a good mark? How is
Yes.
that a good mark? How was
So
that allowed?
So because it is a combination of aquafina, so it's not like water, but then there are several arguments that we take, and probably what is your favorite argument on that?
Okay, so uh, yeah, I don't really have an argument for that. Also, Aquafina on two grounds I could refuse it because one, it's aqua and it's for
Water.
bottled water, and two, it's Aquafina. So if I'm calling it fine water, then it's laudatory. It's praising it, and that could be misleading. So I, it should not have been granted on two grounds. But I say, you know what, the trademark office of whichever country, in all its knowledge, in all
And
its
then
experience, has
yes,
granted it.
that was what about I was about to say it. See, if you're praising water normally in a, like I write better water. So if better water, I cannot get a trademark, but probably if I'm beautifying the language in a manner a common person cannot portray what is the meaning, then I could be able to tweak in certain manner to get that trademark granted.
Okay, then what's your opinion of sugar free?
Sugar free. But Shalini, many of these marks, like you must be knowing, many of these marks they started with a logo, and once that logo got approved, then they were able to gain goodwill and come to the word mark. So it was not like from the beginning only they were able to get a word mark on that. So when we begin with the, like, begin our filings in the first place, we need to see what are the chances. For example, it's a coined word. If it is a coined word, it's okay. I can
Yeah,
I can see that it's a coined word, it does not have meaning, I will be able to get a word mark. But if I am using certain kind of descriptive mark which is indicative of the description of my good in certain manner, not in the manner that exactly indicative of my description of my good, but in slightly indicative of the description, but in that case I'll suggest go for a logo
logo.
first. Then once you are able to satisfy the examiner with the logo, you are able to generate that goodwill, you are able to establish that goodwill with the registration of logo marks. Then probably you can go and file a word mark and argue for a word mark, that okay, over the period of time we have generated some goodwill, and because of this goodwill I should be granted this mark.
Right, absolutely. Um, so my children and I have this activity that whenever we are driving down a new road, we keep looking at marks
Yeah.
and say good mark or bad mark, good trademark, bad trademark. And I've taught them from the time they were about 8 years old or something to identify good and bad trademark. So when we're driving down, they'll say, "Oh no, that's indicative, that's laudatory, that
Mhm.
is."
Shalini is on to making such of the more intellectual property attorneys in this world.
No, my thing is that if they're going to start businesses, at least they should have, we don't know where the economy is going, and we don't know where they're going to be. And if they want to start their business, at least that basic thing they should know of how to pick a trademark. So,
So,
which brings me to my next question. What do you think of name?
Shalini, do you know that I was just about to give you an example. So there has been a case where we were arguing, and unfortunately, our client is the one who has put exactly same name, which is already registered by another XYZ company. And today, I am in Uttarakhand, in a place in a small place in Uttarakhand, and I was traveling on the road, and I see one big hoarding with the same name, and I was like, name, the case on the same name we are fighting in the US. What's about this name that everybody wants to use this name even in India? So
Some names are just trendy.
yeah, for example, people use Shah Rukh Khan's name to brand something, and even Shah Rukh Khan does not know about it. That I am brand ambassador of this
So,
product.
so Shah Rukh Khan has applied for SRK trademark
Correct,
in all the classes.
correct,
And then there was a tailor whose name was also Shah Rukh Khan, and he could not understand why he could not get his trademark in that particular class.
correct.
So,
So,
you
Shalini,
know,
I think in our trademark law, we have an exception where, our names, we can use it. But to what extent that exception is used, practiced, and accepted by law is a different argument. Because I think till the time we are not using somebody else's goodwill and we are using a name, that is okay. But till the time we start using somebody else's goodwill to promote our brands, that is where we have to draw a thin line. And if we are doing that step, obviously we are infringing on somebody else's
sure.
goodwill and mark, and then we should be liable. But I still find that if we have no intention of doing that, and we are not doing that, then you can use your name, because it is your name and nobody can stop you from using your name. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but what do
if
we do with two people with the same
yeah,
name?
yeah, if it is a celebrity and you are trying to use the goodwill of that celebrity, then probably
No,
it's
I'm not trying to use the goodwill of the celebrity. My name is Shalini, and there is an actress called a very famous Tamilian actress called Shalini.
yeah.
And I don't see why she should have a monopoly over the name.
Yeah, even I am on your part, but then if she has a registered trademark in the same class, what do we do about it?
Look, if I'm trying to be Shalini as a lawyer
Yeah,
in my class, and she
that is
has
okay.
filed in class 1 to 45, and she's not going to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
So what is she doing in legal services and squatting? Not
Yeah,
that she is.
squatting.
Not that she is. She's a very good, very cute actress, and I like her. But I'm just saying that just because there is a Shalini who's already trademarked the name and is not planning on using it, then I think a case can be made.
Yeah, even I think so. That's why I told that we have an exception and we need to fight on it. But how many people do fight on it? There are very less. I don't want to disclose someone I know who's fighting on the name, but yeah, how many people do fight on the name?
Yeah, I don't know. I think because we don't know that we have recourse to that.
Correct,
But in trademarks, there is also well-known marks that we are not
correct,
supposed to use. You can apply either you can become a well-known mark or you can apply to be a well-known mark, and then in that case you can stop others from using your mark. Such as I think Gillette is a well-known mark.
correct.
Mm, Balaji is a well-known mark.
Yeah, so for well-known marks specifically in India, we have a list. That list is available on IP India. So if you're using any of those marks in any of the classes, it will fall under a well-known mark, and you will be liable for not, like, you should not use those marks. So I think when you are choosing your marks, you should be certain that my mark, it should not be indicative of my goods. Then it is a good mark. My mark is not a well-known trademark, then it is a good mark. My mark is not indicative of quality or service of a product which originates from a place. For example, uh, Delhi foods, because I am indicative of food which is from Delhi.
Made in
So
Delhi.
that should not be there. So these are some things that one should remember while choosing a mark.
Now, the one thing that I have observed, I'm also a corporate lawyer, so I've done quite a few in corporations. One thing that I find is that the Trademark Act and the Companies Act, they don't talk to each other.
Correct.
So the Trademark Act has a requirement that your mark should not be indicative of what you're selling. So if you're selling apples, you should not call it apple. If you're selling beauty products, you should not call it beauty or beautiful or whatever. But the Companies Act requires your name to indicate what you're doing.
Yes.
And so so if you want to use that as your brand name, you might run into a tricky situation. So my company, which is called IP Crafters, I had to explicitly say IP Crafters Advisory. Only then I could get that name. Otherwise, the other permutation combination where I was trying to do it without using any of these indicative words, I did not get it. So that the Companies Act requires, MCA requires you to be indicative of your goods and services, whereas the Trademark Act requires you to not be indicative. So if you're choosing a name for your company, then choose a brand name that is under it, which can comply with the Trademark Act. So you can have your company's name probably somewhere around and have a brand name which is separate from it.
Absolutely. I think that is always a good strategy, that choosing a name which has your brand name as a part of it. I think that is always a good strategy. And like you said, I face this problem again and again, that companies now law and trademark law do not speak with each other. And whenever we have a good trademark, but that cannot be a good company name. We have a good company name, that cannot be a good
Good
trademark.
trademark.
If I'm going to file a company name, probably I have to give NOC from the trademark registry that I'm not infringing somebody else's mark, and half of the time we do not get those NOCs. So it's better to choose a name wisely, or keep them separate. Like, you can
Yeah,
practice a company with a separate name and have your brand and the products with a separate name. That works. For example, Britannia has several products. uh, Biscuits, 100 names of biscuits are there, but all are
correct.
there. The
Different
company
names.
name is Britannia, but products are so many.
Correct. You have Mari biscuits and
Yeah.
something else. I think.
Good Day,
Yeah,
Mari,
good day,
XYZ.
Mari. Yeah, right, right. So
So yeah.
that's a good thing, which is what I have also done with my company.
Yeah.
I have a company name and then I have a different brand name for the platform,
Correct.
so that so that I can so that
Hmm.
because I wanted something that is reflective of what I'm doing, and I did not want to call the company that. But yeah, there are workarounds, and also the previous point that you brought out, I would like to highlight that a bit more about place names. You cannot use place names unless that place has contribute something to the name. Then you're covered by geographical indication. Uh, Otherwise, if I say Goa sweets, and I'm selling something in Bombay, then I have to be mindful, because then I'm implying to the people, to the customers, that these sweets come from Goa, and they are not really. They are just something I picked up from some shop in Bombay. So I have to be mindful of what place names I'm using.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is also one of the factor, because half of the time clients will come and say, why I can't use this name, or they'll say, if other person got this name, I should have, can also, if other person can get this name, I can also get this name, because other person has this name, I cannot get this name.
No, and I also get people asking that how did he get Goa, the name Goa in his mark? But those were the days where it was not digital. Things were not digital, and a lot of orders used to be
Yeah.
passed without the other office knowing about it, and so things happened. But now with everything being centralized, I think there is a method to the madness, and you don't get the officers are also quite strict, and they are applying the law very rigidly. So I think that's a good thing that we're
Yeah.
sticking to the law. At least you know what to expect.
Perfect. So I think this was all about today's session, and yeah, any final thoughts, Shalini?
Yeah, I think it helps to imagine a sort of your number line when you were in school. On one side you have positive, one side you have negative. So you have, and in the middle there's zero. So just like that, think of a trademark, the good and bad trademarks along a spectrum. On one side you have something that is suggestive, something that is clearly telling you that this is it. This is um, United Airways for Airways, American Airlines, right? And then you move down, that's from the negative. Then you're moving down to suggestive, such as clean and clear and Mr. Clean. Then you move on to words that exist in the dictionary but are not indicative of what they are, like dove or shell. And then you get into the made up words like Haagen Dazs for ice cream and Exxon, um, and you want to be there. You want to be somewhere in that Dove to Exxon category.
Yes.
So always when you're thinking of trademarks or you want thinking of choosing a trademark, go between made up words to go between words that are not suggestive to made up words. And oftentimes you may think that, hey, this is a dictionary word and it doesn't mean what people think it means. But in your head, you came up with that word because it is similar.
Yeah.
Like shield for antiperspirant, and you're thinking, oh, shield battle, but you chose shield because it protects you from body odor.
Yeah.
So others are also going to think of the same thing. So shield for antiperspirants is probably already taken, or a knife, or things like that. So be my and of course don't choose swear words or words that are likely to harm anyone's religious interest, obscene words. You have to steer clear of those. But in the kosher sector, you want to be in the non-descriptive to made up words.
And just to add on to this, always do a trademark search. It will reap you benefits in the long run. You'll be more secure if you do a proper trademark search and choose a name wisely. So do a trademark search. Your attorney is going to tell you where you could face problems. So that is always a good thing to do when you are proceeding with filing of the trademarks.
I think that was a good session.
Yes, so that was a good session. If you have any doubts, please feel free to message me or Shalini. Will be happy to help you. And yeah, see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. We'll be back on the patent agent discussion.
Yes, perfect. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye. Have a good evening.